17% tax on number of items proposed. Tareen dismisses inflation fears. By Mubarak Saif Khan and Kalbe Ali, 31 December 2021. Islamabad, Finance Minister Shaul at Tareen presented in the National Assembly on Thursday as Finance Supplementary Bill 2021, envisaging withdrawal of sales tax exemptions worth rupees 343 billion on machinery, pharma, and imported food items. The bill also proposes an increase in rates of federal excise duty, income tax, and sales tax on services in the Federal Capital Territory. Mr. Tareen explained that sales tax on machinery and pharma sector is adjustable and refundable. He said the levy of 17% sales tax on several hundred items, which would directly or indirectly affect the people, would raise around rupees 71 billion for the national kitty. The withdrawal of tax exemptions includes rupees 331 billion luxury goods and rupees 31 billion on business goods. Elite, not the common man, are beneficiary of these exemptions. Mr. Tareen said, adding that tax exemptions of rupees 343 billion had been benefiting various interest groups for the past 70 years. We have targeted only those items which are used by the elites. However, Mr. Tareen said the levy of 17% sales tax on some specific items would raise rupees 2 billion, adding that the tax on these items would only affect the ordinary people. We have only increased the cost of imported luxury items, he said, adding that local supply of most items remained unchanged. The minister explained that withdrawal of tax exemptions worth rupees 112 billion on machinery and rupees 160 billion on pharmaceutical sector is adjustable and refundable. He did not consider these as taxes, which will now be collected at the rate of 17% on import of machinery and from the pharma sector. The bill proposes 17% sales tax on a number of items which were earlier exempted from the tax. The government terms these products luxury items, which include imported live animals, steak meat, fish, vegetables, high-end bakery items, branded cheese, sausages, high-end cell phones, and bicycles. At the same time, a number of items is proposed in the bill for targeted subsidy to minimize the impact of 17% sales tax. These include oil cake, animal feed, poultry feed, maize seed for corn oil, and cotton seed for oil mills. Other items that will now attract 17% on import are magazines and fashion journals. The targeted subsidy plan of rupees 33 billion has been proposed to protect any segment of population which may get affected even indirectly by the withdrawal of some exemptions, etc. According to the finance minister, the 17% sales tax imposed on the items used by common people would yield only rupees 2 billion for the government. These items include personal computers, sewing machines, matchboxes, iodized salt, and chili and contraceptives. Tax exemption is retained on basic food items, import and supply of rice, wheat, muslin, and local supply of other grains. Exemptions continue on local supply of fruits, vegetables, beef, mutton, poultry, fish, eggs, sugarcane, and beet sugar. Similarly, zero rating on milk and fat-filled milk is also retained. The exemptions on vegetables and fruits from Afghanistan is also retained. Textbooks, stationery items, and locally manufactured laptops and personal computers will remain exempted from sales tax. In the agriculture sector, the reduced rate of 2% on fertilizer at out stage will continue, along with multiple reduced rates on fertilizer inputs as currently available. The sales tax exemption will continue on pesticide and tractors will continue to be sold at 5% tax rate. Federal excise duty on imported and locally manufactured assembled vehicles is proposed to be increased on the recommendations of the Tariff Policy Board and the Ministry of Commerce. Advanced tax on cellular services is proposed to be increased from 10% to 15%, while withholding tax is proposed on foreign produced TV serial dramas and advertisements with foreign actors. The bill proposes that the license authority will collect advance income tax on screening of any foreign TV drama serial, or play dubbed in Urdu or any other language. The advance tax on TV plays and advertisements will be rupees 1 million per episode of foreign produced TV drama serial or play. Rupees 3 million on foreign produced TV serial episode and rupees 500,000 per second on advertisements starring foreign actors. Tax on transfer of newly purchased vehicles has been increased to discourage the practice of own money. Exemptions available to REIT have been extended to special purpose vehicles set up under an REIT. Pharmaceutical firms have been equited with exporters for purposes of release of refund within 72 hours. Therefore, pharma firms will now be able to claim refunds on GST paid as input tax on packaging material, utilities, etc., which they previously could not, having price tag of rupees 35 billion. Expectedly, the prices of medicines in the retail market should come down approximately by 20%. The finance minister, in a briefing of the media, said those creating a huge hue and cry over the supplementary finance bill and the State Bank of Pakistan SBP autonomy bill were only politicizing the technical matter without any rationale. He also highlighted the importance of the SBP autonomy and said it was essential for the overall growth of the country's economy. The minister said the allegations being leveled against the government were baseless because not every suggestion of the IMF had been accepted in the SBP autonomy bill. We need to understand that all those countries which have not granted independence to their central banks, like Turkey, have suffered. Mr. Sarin clarified that there were no constitutional amendments in the SBP autonomy bill, and it had been approved with a simple majority only. If we feel that the state bank is getting out of hand, a simple majority is required to finish these amendments. He said the main purpose of granting autonomy to the state bank was to end government borrowings and claimed that the incumbent government had not borrowed anything from the central bank over the past 2.5 years. Besides, there will be an SBP board appointed by the government to make key decisions, while the state bank will be answerable to the standing committees of parliament too, the minister said. Uproar in National Assembly as government tables bills to meet IMF conditions. By Amr Wasim, 31 December 2021. Islamabad, the government on Thursday finally tabled two controversial legislations required to meet conditions of the International Monetary Fund, IMF, in the National Assembly amid noisy protest by a confused opposition whose members attended the sitting without their senior leaders and apparently with no clear strategy. The opposition members carrying placards started gathering in front of the speaker's dais as soon as the speaker Asad Kasser invited Finance Minister Shaukat Tareen to introduce the Finance Supplementary Bill 2021, seeking to amend certain laws on taxes and duties, also known as the Mini Budget and the State Bank of Pakistan Amendment Bill 2021. The Speaker declared that the Finance Supplementary Bill 2021 would not be referred to the Standing Committee, and it would be debated in the House, whereas he sent the bill seeking to provide operational and financial autonomy to the State Bank of Pakistan SBP to the concerned House Committee for a report. The approval of the bills is necessary to ensure Pakistan's sixth review of $6 billion extended fund facility gets cleared by the IMF's executive board, which is scheduled to meet on January 12 to decide about the disbursement of about $1 billion tranche. The opposition members who had earlier announced that they would block the government's move to present the bills with full force in their speeches accused the ruling Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf PTI of surrendering the country's economic sovereignty through these bills. They said the bills would cause more economic difficulties for the people of Pakistan, who were already reeling under unprecedented price hike and unemployment through the joint opposition after a meeting on Wednesday. Had they announced that it had directed the members to ensure their attendance on the fateful day, and neither opposition leader Shahbaz Sharif nor PPI chairman Bilawal Bhutto Zardari attended the sitting. Besides agitating over the presentation of the two controversial bills, the opposition members also protested over the government's move to get extension in the life of 6 expired ordinances. The Speaker, however, though a ruling dismissed through a ruling dismissed the opposition's objections and allowed the government to move resolutions seeking extension in the constitutional life of the ordinances with retrospective effect. At one stage, the opposition members, including senior lawmakers Syed Naveed Qamar of the Pakistan People's Party (PPP) and Murtaza Javed Abbasi of the Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz (PMLN), rushed towards the front treasury bench and were seen exchanging arguments with federal minister, including Shah Mahmood Qureshi, Shaukat Tareen, Asad Umar, Fawad Chowdhury, and Dr. Shiri Masari, when advisor to the Prime Minister on Parliamentary Affairs, Sabab Awan, was presenting the resolutions for extension of the ordinances. You are an IMF agent. You are a traitor, said monetary minority PMLN member Tisu Mal Khil Das, while pointing finger at the finance minister's face. However, Mr. Tareen remained seated and gestured him to go away. The opposition members tore apart the copies of the bills and the agenda and threw the copies in the air and on the speaker and the treasury benches while raising slogans of "Go Niazi Go," "Down our traitors," and say no to mini budget. Some opposition members staged a sit-in in front of the speaker's dais for a brief time. Some treasury benchmakers, backbenchers, including women, rushed towards the protesting opposition members, and the House witnessed a scuffle among the women members. The opposition at one point challenged the Speaker's ruling on a voice vote on a resolution for extension of an ordinance, but interestingly, its members did not stand up to register their vote when the Speaker ordered those members to rise on their seats who were against the resolution. Later, amid desk thumping by the Treasury members, the Speaker declared that 145 members had voted in favor of the resolution, whereas only 3 votes had been polled against it. After facilitating the government in completing its task of tabling the bills and resolutions for extension of ordinances, the Speaker allowed the opposition members to deliver their rhetoric speeches in which they slammed the government's economic policies and asked it to withdraw the controversial legislations. Taking the floor first, PMLN parliamentary leader Khwaja Asif not only targeted the government, but also lashed out at the Speaker over his alleged partisan role. This is a day of infamy for the Parliament and the Speaker's chair. The history will remember this day when the whole nation is feeling ashamed due to the Parliament's behavior, said the PMLN firebrand member. For God's sake, have mercy on Pakistani nation. Don't sell Pakistan, he said, alleging that the PTI government had made Pakistan a colony of international donors. He alleged that the government was handing over the control of the SBP to the IMF, adding that it seemed that the East India Company was ruling the country. The PMLN lawmaker alleged that the government had been forced to present the mini budget because of the corruption approved during the 3-year term of the PTI government. Had you, the government, not allowed the loot in medicines, sugar, and wheat, you would not have been imposing new taxes and presenting a mini budget, he said. Mr. Asif termed the Speaker's ruling about the extension of ordinances illegal, unconstitutional, and against the Supreme Court's verdict. Surrendering Pakistan's economic sovereignty is more dangerous than that of the fall of Dhaka, he said, while referring to the East Pakistan debate on December 16, 1971. In response to Mr. Asif's speech, Planning and Development Minister Asad Umar said the PTI government had approved more development budget as compared to the previous governments, taking the opposition to task for criticizing the government on national security policy. Mr. Umar said during the previous government's era, the Prime Minister and the Defense Minister were working on foreign ikama. He said in the last survey, 86% Pakistanis had opined that the PTI government had performed all during the COVID-19 pandemic. The PPP's Raja Parvez Ashraf said Mr. Umar had not responded to the concerns and points raised by the opposition about the controversial bills and instead had delivered a political speech. He said the government members were not able even to visit their constituencies. He said the people would teach the treasury members a lesson when they would go to them to seek votes. Asad Mahmood of the Jamiat Ulama Islam said the PTI had faced a defeat in local government elections in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa despite being the ruling party, adding that the party would face the same fate in every upcoming elections. Responding to the opposition's criticism, the Speaker said the House would hold a debate on the finance supplementary bill and the amendments if moved by the opposition. The Speaker then gave floor to Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi, but the PMLN's Barjees Tahir pointed out lack of quorum. The Speaker adjourned the sitting till Friday morning today, even without ordering a head count, as quorum was visibly lacking. COVID jab centers to stay shut on January 1 and 2, says NCOC. By Ikram Janedi, 31 December 2021. Islamabad, while 30% of overall and 46% of eligible population has been vaccinated against the COVID-19 at the National Command and Operation Center, NCOC, on Thursday decided to keep vaccination centers closed on the first 2 days of the next year. All vaccination centers across the country will remain closed on 1st and 2nd January 2022, Saturday and Sunday, as vaccination staff remained extensively engaged in achieving national targets for the year 2021. Vaccination campaign will resume from 3rd January onwards, the NCOC announced. 30% of country's total population and 46% of eligible population stand vaccinated in the wake of rising threat of Omicron. Please get yourself fully vaccinated and follow SOPs. Wear mask, avoid crowded places, and ensure social distancing, it tweeted. Meanwhile, the country recorded the highest number of cases over the last almost 2 months and over 400 cases after a gap of around 1 month. The data center showed that as many as 482 cases and 3 deaths were reported over the past 24 hours. Earlier, over 400 cases were reported on December 3. More than 482 cases were reported on November 10, when 637 people were infected. PMA blasts tax hike on medicines. In a related development, the Pakistan Medical Association, PMA, expressed concern over the federal government's proposed 17% GST on raw materials for pharmaceutical products. This imposition of 17% GST on raw materials will cause the price hike of medicine, which is already very high and out of the reach of the poor people of the country, and even the middle class of our society feels burdened. This move will make it difficult for the poor people to get treatment for their sick family members. We strongly oppose this proposal. Unfortunately, the present government has already increased the drug prices 11 times during its tenure. In such conditions, when there is scarcity of health facilities at the public hospitals, all increase in prices of medicines will add unto the misery of the people, it stated. PMA Secretary General Dr. Kassar Sajjad said that the association had been demanding for the last many years to increase the health budget up to the 6% of the gross domestic product so that the people could get treatment of their diseases. We suggest to the government to make public health facilities free in 2022 so that nobody dies without treatment, according to retrospect published in a section of media. The government will impose 17% GST on food items, including infant's milk, in upcoming mini budget. These food items were very important for balanced diet, and increasing the price of food items will not only increase the burden of diseases, but will also increase malnutrition and stunting. We are surprised that even knowing the fact that our children are already facing malnutrition and stunting, the government is prepared to increase the prices of essential food items. The PMA demands from the federal government to review its decision and withdraw the proposal of imposing 17% GST on food items and raw materials for pharmaceutical products to stop the further increase of drug prices, to ease difficulties of the poor people who are already suffering from inflation and bad economic situation in the country, he said. 4 killed in bomb attack on workers of JUI faction. By Salim Shahid, 31 December 2021. Quetta, 4 people were killed and 16 others injured in a bomb explosion near the main gate of a college at Jinnah Road area here on Thursday night. Police said unknown people planted an improvised explosive device near the main gate of Science College and detonated it with remote control at 9:40 p.m., resulting in the killing of 4 people and injuries to 16 others. He said the target of the blast was leaders and workers of Jamiat Ulama Islam JUI ideological group who had come to attend Shohada conference organized by the party's student wing. The powerful explosion took place when the participants of the conference were coming out of the college at the conclusion of the conference. A spokesman for the counter-terrorism department said, the deceased and the injured were all seminary students and workers of the JUI ideological group. Provincial Emir of the party, Maulana Abdul Qadir Luni, Maulana Mahmudul Hassan Kasmi, Maulana Abdul Sattar Chishti, and other leaders escaped unhurt in the blast as they had left the college premises just before the blast. Police and personnel of other law enforcement agencies rushed to the scene of the blast and after cordoning off the area, shifted the bodies and the injured to the civil hospital where a state of emergency was declared. We have received 4 bodies and 19 injured, Dr. Javed Ahmad, medical superintendent of the civil hospital, told Dawn, adding that the condition of 4 injured was serious. The bomb disposal squad collected evidences from the explosion site. It was a remote-controlled IED. A senior official of the BDS said, adding that the device was planted close to a car which was parked near the main gate of the college. Several vehicles and motorcycles were damaged by the impact of the blast, while window panes of nearby buildings were smashed. The deceased were identified as Muhammad Akram, Sharfuddin, Yunus Aga, and Hafiz Muhammad Akram. The injured included Muhammad Idris, Mansoor Ahmad, Noor Muhammad, Sanaullah, Habibullah, Muhammad Ramzan, Zahur Ahmad, Muhammad Farooq, Bilal Muhammad, Najibullah, Azizullah, Nadir, Jamil Ahmed, and Abdul Hadi. No group claimed responsibility for the attack. PM feels Nawaz will return only after deal. By Syed Irfan Razak, 31 December 2021, Islamabad Prime Minister Imran Khan hinted on Thursday that former Prime Minister and Supremo of the Pakistan Muslim League (N) PMLN Nawaz Sharif will not return to the country without first striking a secret deal on the issue. Nawaz Sharif, had also returned to the country from Saudi Arabia in 2007 under a deal, the Prime Minister said while talking to some journalists in the corridors of the Parliament House. When he was asked about reports that Mr. Sharif could return to the country soon, Mr. Khan said when Nawaz had gone to Saudi Arabia, we used to hear that he was either coming today or tomorrow. In response to the question regarding speeches by a leader of the opposition in the National Assembly, Shehbaz Sharif, the Prime Minister said, a speech of Shehbaz Sharif is like his job application. He said his government was managing its affairs well and was under no threat from the opposition. The government is not in trouble, he remarked. Earlier in the day, Prime Minister Khan presided over a special meeting of the Federal Cabinet that approved the Supplementary Finance Bill 2021, which was subsequently introduced in the National Assembly by Finance Minister Shaukat Tareen. In a tweet on the matter, Federal Information Minister Fawad Chaudhry said Cabinet had approved the finance bill and it would be tabled in the National Assembly. Prime Minister Khan also presided over a meeting of the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf PTI Parliamentary Party, where Mr. Tareen explained the features of the finance bill and responded to the legislators' queries about amendments to the State Bank Act. After the meeting, Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi told journalists that it was the parliamentarians' right to be acquainted with the legislation about the two tabled in the parliament. In response to a question, he said, Parliament was empowered to amend any law with a simple majority if required to remove any lacuna in it. The meeting of the PTI's parliamentary party was attended by cabinet members as well as other members of the parliament. Party elections, the Prime Minister also chaired a meeting of the PTP's Central Executive Committee, CEC, which decided the party would hold its elections in 2022 under its slightly amended Constitution of 2015. The Formation Minister told Dawn the meeting declared the recently formed 21-member committee for formulation of the party's constitution as the CEC of the party. He said the party would make slight changes in its constitution of 2015, under which the polls would be organized. Mr. Khan had dissolved the party's organizational structure after its recent defeat in the first phase of local body elections in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. He had also formed the 21-member committee to amend the party's constitution. And in the end, the formal request, if you have not yet, please subscribe our channel and press the like and bell button to get the press from us. Thank you for watching. Have a nice time. Goodbye.